It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Kruse.
Remember that old song that Ethel Merman made famous? You know, there's no business like show business, like no business I know. Yes, Ethel sang it a lot better than I did. I know that. Irving Berlin wrote that song back in 1954, and he was writing about Broadway and Hollywood. But if you're an outdoors enthusiast, you know that it may as well have been written about the shows going on around the nation at this time of year, because it's Sportsman show season. The reason why is because January through March tend to offer guides, outfitters, and pros in the fishing and hunting business a time frame where they're not out on the water or in the field so much and can actually go to these shows to drum up business. This has also offered show producers the opportunity to showcase these exhibitors and provide all sorts of other attractions that draw people like you and me, the average Joe hunter, angler, and lover of the outdoors, to these shows so that we can go to seminars and learn some new tricks, check out the latest products from manufacturers, maybe get some really good deals on fishing or hunting gear, take the kids to the trout pond or an air gun range, and perhaps score your big trophy you took in the field last year, all while looking to book the trip of a year or maybe a lifetime. Yep, there's no business like show business, sportsman show business that is, and we'll be telling you about a couple of big shows today. One of them is in the eastern U.S. and one of them is in the western U.S. And between the two of those shows, they'll pull in close to 250,000 attendees. That is some serious show business indeed. The Eastern Show is the Great American Outdoors Show. It's taking place in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And the Western Show we'll tell you about this week is the Washington Sportsman Show, going on in Puyallup, just a few miles south of Seattle and Tacoma. Christina Paladeau with the National Rifle Association will tell you about the former show in just a few seconds, and Trey Carskadon with O'Loughlin Trade Shows will tell you about that Washington show in just a few minutes. In addition to these shows, we'll mention a few more too that are taking place around the country in the next couple of weeks that you just might want to attend. As I said, there are quite a few tackle and lure manufacturers who attend these shows, and one of the better known manufacturers out there is Mr. Twister. Darryl Laurent has worked with that company for a long time and will be coming at you from their headquarters in Louisiana today to talk about not only some of their classic plastic grubs like the curly tail grub that changed fishing for a lot of us when it came out in the 1970s, but also some new soft plastic lures that are catching some really big bass. Finally, we'll take you to the West Coast to talk to guide Steve Huber. He's taking anglers out onto California's Smith River and Oregon's Chetco River for chrome bright winter steelhead for the next couple of months, and he'll break down the fishing scene and give you details about both rivers. Oh, and getting back to shows, I suppose we should mention the shows we're going to be at. That's right, we're going to have a booth at that Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup. We'll also have a booth at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon, February 6th through the 10th. And we'll be at the Wenatchee Valley Sportsman Show. That's my home show. That's going to be February 22nd through the 24th. If you're attending any of these shows, I hope you'll drop by. We'd love to get your feedback about the show. We'd love to talk fishing and hunting and the outdoors with you. And be sure to sign up for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate from Max Lure Company. We're giving one away at the end of each show, and no, you don't have to be present to win. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we told you we were going to tell you about a couple really big shows this week happening in the United States, and we thought we'd start off with the biggest one of them all. It's the Great American Outdoor Show. It's taking place at the Pennsylvania Farm Show Complex in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Saturday, February 2nd through Sunday, February 10th. With us here to tell you more about it is Christina Paladeau. She's with the National Rifle Association, the organization that puts this on every year. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's put this in perspective, Christina. How big is the Great American Outdoor Show in terms of the number of exhibitors and the number of attendees who will be walking through the exhibit halls?
Sure. Well, to start, I'll say that it's the biggest consumer outdoor show in the world, so it's the largest numbers of those people that you're going to find in one place at one time. We've got more than 650,000 square feet of exhibition space with more than 1,100 exhibitors filling those 9 halls. They've got everything from firearms and hunting and fishing gear to trucks, ATVs, camping, archery, and more. And we're expecting nearly 200,000 people to come visit us in Harrisburg for this show.
That is amazing. I exhibit at the Pacific Northwest Sportsmen Show in Portland, Oregon every year. They bill that as the second largest show in the nation, and they get about 60,000 attendees, so 200,000. That's really impressive. Now, I know they're coming to see a lot of the guides and the outfitters and a lot of the non-government and government organizations that have booths there, but a lot of people come to these shows because there's attractions to see. We'll get to the events in a second, but let's talk about some of the attractions that are literally attracting people to this show outside of the guides and outfitters themselves.
Definitely. We've got, again, this year returning, we've got Dock Dogs. That's always one of the crowd's favorite attractions there. They'll be there February 2nd through the 6th. And anybody with a dog who can jump pretty far is allowed to participate, and we love it for everybody to come out and watch that competition. We've also got archery competitions, including a 3D bow hunter challenge and a spot shot. There's various fishing demonstrations and seminars happening at the huge 5,000-gallon hog tank all week long, and there's fun for the entire family. We've got an Eddie Eagle Kids Zone that has lots of activities like face painting and basketball for the kids, along with the NRA airgun range and NRA range experience to get some hands-on interactive activity there.
You know, I have a confession to make, Christina. Sitting next to me or laying next to me in the studio is my Springer Spaniel. And folks, here's some advice. If you want to do the Dock Dogs thing like I thought I wanted to do with my dog, make sure you practice first before you get up in front of the crowd and send that dog running off the ramp. Because if they're like my dog, they're just going to not run off the ramp, and they're just going to sit there and look at you, and it's going to be a little embarrassing for everybody. So there's your Dock Dogs tip of the week. Trust me, there's going to be some good ones out there, though, and it won't be my Springer Spaniel, Georgia. Let's talk about some of the events that are happening in addition to the attractions you just mentioned.
Absolutely. So we've got the NRA Foundation Wall of Guns going on all week long. That's a raffle that you can play to win your choice of firearms from the wall. And then following up with that is the Friends of NRA banquet taking place on Thursday night, February 7th. That'll be fundraising for the NRA Foundation, which is the nation's largest nonprofit in support of the shooting sports, and as well as the kids casting contest that's taking place during the weekends of the show, the first weekend and the second weekend, so kids can participate in a lesson and then a competition for casting their fishing rods. The winners will actually walk away with free fishing rods. And I know we're going to follow up shortly with another of our big events coming up on the Saturday night. We're
going to follow up on it right now. So Saturday, February 9th, it's the country concert. And every year, you've always got a great headliner. Who's it going to be this year?
So this year, we're really excited to welcome back Lee Brice as our headliner. He was actually with the show before a few years ago, and he's coming back. We're so excited to have him, along with special guests Easton Corbin and Tyler Farr, performing on Saturday night in the large arena. Tickets are on sale now, and that's definitely one of the huge highlights of the show, and we're really excited to see what they're going to bring to the Great American Outdoor Show this year.
Well, Lee Brice, definitely a crowd favorite. There is a lot going on between February 2nd and February 10th at the Pennsylvania Farm Show Complex. If folks want to find out more, Christina, what's the website we need to send them to?
Folks can go to www.greatamericanoutdoorshow.org. Super simple. And then also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for NRA_GAOS. We'll be sharing continued updates before and during the show.
It's the Great American Outdoor Show. Find out more at greatamericanoutdoorshow.org or on those social media outlets that Christina just told you about. You'll find show hours. You'll find more that's going on about this show. And if you're anywhere, I mean anywhere close to Pennsylvania, this is a can't miss event. Christina, thanks for sharing it with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
The two biggest fishing and hunting shows in the Northwest are taking place courtesy of O'Loughlin Trade Shows. The Washington Sportsman Show is happening January 23rd through the 27th at the Fairgrounds in Puyallup, and you won't want to miss the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show either at the Expo Center in Portland, February 6th through the 10th. There will be hundreds of exhibitors and up to 100,000 attendees, along with the seminars and demos from experts there, and you'll find incredible deals too only at these shows. It's the Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup, January 23rd through the 27th, and the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, February 6th through the 10th. They're the biggest and best shows around. We'll see you there.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Why book at Sportsman's Cove Lodge?
Why is Alaska like no other place on Earth? It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
From the way you get here on a float plane to the way you go out with the guides and the boats, it's just a professional experience.
And I said, this is as good as it gets. I said, if you can't catch fish here, you can't catch fish anywhere.
Your experience with us will leave you speechless.
Book now at alaskasbestlodge.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm John Kruse. Earlier, we talked about that big show taking place in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, but there's another big one that's taking place on the West Coast. It's the Washington Sportsman Show. There's going to be some 40,000 attendees that are going to be there at the fairgrounds in Puyallup, from Seattle, from the South Sound, from really all over the Pacific Northwest, because this is the second biggest show in the Pacific Northwest. With us here to tell you more about the Washington Sportsman Show is Trey Carskadon with O'Loughlin Trade Shows. Trey, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, John. Nice to be here.
So, Trey, again, this is a really big show, by far the biggest one in Washington State. Why don't you give our listeners an overview of what's going to happen between Wednesday the 23rd and Sunday the 27th of January?
Well, we've got over 500 exhibitors lined up this year. It's in a little more than 250,000 square feet of display space at the fairgrounds in Puyallup. And this year, we got a rolled out last year's shows, and one of the things that struck us is that the Portland show south is such a monster that we lose some attendance in our Washington show because we don't have unique features. So we've kind of turned this year on its ear with a bunch of new features that will only be at the Washington show. We've got a bunch of new exhibitors. We're expecting to see hundreds of new products. We've really retooled this show in a way that we're very happy with and proud of, and we're looking forward to opening the doors.
All right. Well, we're going to get to the new stuff in a second, but first, for those who haven't been in a while or those who haven't been at all, let's tell them about some of the fan favorites that are there at the Washington Sportsman Show, some of the draws that attract people every year.
Well, it wouldn't be a sportsman show without the kids' trout pond.
Absolutely.
So kids 12 and under, with admission to the show, get to fish free and take a fish or two home with them and kind of try their luck there. That's always a popular feature. And in fact, now we have families coming back where, the parents actually fish the trout pond and now they're bringing their kids. The head and horns competition is one of those that it's been a steamroller for us because it's so popular, and we're expecting to see some mammoth trophies show up this year. We've already heard of at least a couple of trophy deer that are expected to show and be scored, and as well as a trophy moose that was taken in Washington. So we're really keeping our eyes out this year to see what comes to the door, but the prizes are fantastic for that. We've got a number of companies that have donated, and we're expecting some surprises there. Certainly our Fistful of Corkies is back. That's been a popular attraction the last 5 years. Everybody wins. You go to the Toyota booth and grab a handful, and if you get one that has a particular logo on it, you'll leave with a fabulous prize. But the worst that you'll do is a handful of Corkies. I think those are kind of the high points right now, the kind of returning favorites.
Well, there's one we've got to talk about that I know is another high point. The outdoor cooking tent, that always draws a huge crowd because you've always got some great cooks demonstrating how to make some great food, especially wild game and fish.
You're absolutely right, but that's one that we've turned on its ear. This year, it's going to be the Washington Sportsman Show outdoor cooking competition. And this is a world-class competition, literally. It's being put on by an outfit that we negotiated with last year that's bringing cooks from around the country, barbecuers and grillers. These folks will also be conducting seminars as well, but it's a full-on cooking competition. The winner goes on to other invitationals and the World Food Championships. We have at least a couple of past World Food Champions that will be barbecuing at this as well. So the cooking part of the show has now notched up about 10 notches with this new feature. We're really excited to bring it to Washington. It will only be at the Washington show.
Oh, wow. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to want to take that in, not just to see how it's done, but to learn how to do it themselves. That sounds fantastic. You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Trey Carskadon with O'Loughlin Trade Shows about the Washington Sportsman Show coming up January 23rd through the 27th at the Fairgrounds in Puyallup. And Trey, that's a new thing. What are some of the other new things that are going to be taking place just at the Washington Sportsman Show?
Well, these are exclusive to the Washington Sportsman Show. We have a new kayak fishing pavilion. Kayak fishing is the fastest growing category in fishing across the country, and we're very pleased to bring it to this show. We'll have a lineup of top-level expert speakers, as well as products to purchase, and most of the major brands will be represented there. So that's kind of a nice, fun twist to the Washington show. We have another thing called Walleye Alley, really a celebration of walleye with live walleye tank. We have walleye pros coming from around the country. There'll be products to buy. That's going to be a fun addition to the show. Also, the Garmin Tech Center, which is if you have a handheld GPS or fish finding electric sonar, fish finders that you'd like to use better. Of course, the emphasis is going to be on Garmin, but for anybody that has this, you learn how to use them correctly and get the most out of your electronics, for in the hunting or for fishing. Loophole, of course, is our presenting sponsor now, and the Loophole Challenge will be there. I'll let the folks from Loophole discuss that with you. I know that they're expected to spend some time with you in the next few weeks. We have an After 4 special. We tried it last year. We're bringing it back this year, and folks can come to the show after 4. Of course, parking is free, but admission is half price, $7.50. So it's a heck of a savings. Very popular last year. We expect it to be very popular again this year.
Wow.
Some of the high points.
Wow. Okay, Trey, you are absolutely right. Talk about upping an already great game. I am impressed. It's too bad I'm going to be tied to my booth so often because I want to go and experience some of this too. But by the way, folks, with 500 exhibitors, if you're looking to book an adventure, whether it be a trip here in the States or in the Northwest, whether it be up in Canada, whether it be in Alaska, whether it be in Africa or New Zealand, there's going to be people there for you. They're going to have some great show specials. On top of that, there's going to be lots of RVs. There's going to be trailers. There's going to be boats. Pretty much everything that has to do with the outdoors is going to be represented at the Washington Sportsman Show. Before we go, let's give out the hours. Again, it's taking place Wednesday the 23rd through Sunday the 27th. And let's talk about the fact that there's free parking and discount coupons too.
There sure is. You can get discount coupons online. You can actually buy tickets online and not have to wait in line. You just got to walk right through the doors. And if you want more information on the show, it'll be all posted and current right now. And that's at thesportshows.com. That's thesportshows.com. And just to shoehorn this in real quick, John, we've got this year over 50 seminars a day. It's like 55 or 56 seminars a day will be at the show. So that's over 50 hours of seminars every day of the show.
All right, folks, you heard it here. You need to attend the Washington Sportsman Show. All sorts of new things going on, all sorts of tried and true things going on, plus these seminars too, where you can learn from the pros and up your game. This is a show not to miss. One more time, the dates are Wednesday, the 23rd of January through the 27th. That's Sunday. The location is the Fairgrounds at Puyallup. The website to go to find out more and to get tickets now or discount coupons for some of the days is thesportshows.com. That's thesportshows.com. Trey, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offers spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. If you're like me, you'll open up an old tackle box sometimes and get a little nostalgic. Well, that's what happened to me the other day. I opened up my old bass tackle box from when I used to fish Lake Sammamish in northwest Washington back in the 70s and 80s. Found a whole bunch of Mr. Twister curly tail jigs in there, and thinking back on it, I just had to go to the website and reach out to Mr. Twister to find out more about what's been going on with them. The person who I'm reaching out to, his name is Darryl Laurent. He's coming at us from Mr. Twister headquarters in Louisiana. Darryl, it's great to have you on the show.
Oh, happy to be here, John.
So I remember you and I are of a certain age, and back in the beginning, so to speak, plastic worms, plastic grubs, they didn't have any sort of tail except a flat tail, and so there was no movement to them. And Mr. Twister with their curly tail jigs back in the 70s, that kind of changed everything, didn't it?
It sure did. You know, the original two lures that we had, we still have in our product line, and they're both great sellers, the 4-inch Twister and the 6-inch Twister. The curly tail design was a patented item started by patented by one of our original owners, Dr. Glenn Carver, out of Louisiana, and it just took the fishing to a whole new level back in the mid-'70s.
You know, when it comes to Mr. Twister products, I remember using them for bass, but now anymore I tend to stock up on them when I'm going after panfish like crappie and bluegill, and the smaller the better. When it comes to your product line, especially those curly tail jigs, what are your best sellers? Are they panfish grubs? Are they bass grubs or walleye?
In our original curly tail grubs, we make them from 1 to 6 inch. Our most popular size is a 3-inch meanie. Very popular in the walleye market, very popular for big slab crappie, very popular for spinnerbait trailers. From there, the 2-inch, which is more of your crappie size, panfish, and the 4-inch are both equally good sellers. The 4-inch is also good for walleye. It is a great saltwater bait for redfish, speckled trout, things along that nature. And also the 4-inch and 3-inch are great for smallmouth fishing.
Question for you, Darryl. I didn't know this, that Sheldon's Incorporated, the owners of Mepps Lure Company up in Wisconsin, I had no idea they bought Mr. Twister in 1982. Do you operate as separate entities, or do you tie in some of your products together?
We basically operate separately from each other. Now, there's a few things that we do share, like our independent reps throughout the country. We share those. But, for the most part, we stand on our own. They stand on our own. They use some of our plastics and some of their baits as trailers, like on the Timber Doodle and also the Black Fury combos, where they use our split double tail and our 3 and 4 inch curly tail grub.
They don't make you use their squirrel tails, do they?
No, sir, they don't. They kind of hoard those up there. They like keeping that to themselves.
I had to get that in there. Whenever I think of squirrel tails, I always think of Mepps lures and those spinners that they're on. So let's talk about Mr. Twister today. What are the big sellers that you have these days besides those curly tail grubs that you and I grew up fishing with?
Well, we've, about 6-7 years ago, we refocused on our bass products. So a lot of the bass products that you see on our website or if you see, in our catalog are basically 6 years or newer. So we've really taken a focus in that bass market. It's been very, very good for us. Actually, Clint Davis this past August won the FLW Cup on our new bait for this year, which is the Mag 12 buzzworm.
So tell me more about this particular buzzworm. I've never even heard of a buzzworm before.
We make a phenom worm, which has been in our line, since the late 70s. And at one time we had an 11-inch phenom worm that kind of, it went its way. Everything replaces something down the road. It was a big worm. We sold a lot on big lakes around in the south, whether it's Gunnersville, Lake Fork, Caddo Lake. It was a great night fishing worm. With electronics, the things that electronics allow the fishermen to see nowadays, about 4 years ago, we got requests to come back out with that 11-inch phenom because now people can see a brush pile in 20 and 30 feet of water. Whereas before, the only way you knew it was in the water is if you actually sunk them yourselves.
Right.
So, our mode was shot. We'd had to, make a new mode. So I said, we started thinking, what can we do better? What can we do to make it different? So we worked with 2 key fishermen, Albert Collins out of Texas and Clint Davis out of Alabama. And we spent over a year developing and refining the Mag 12 buzzworm. It's a 12-inch worm. It's got a buzz tail on it, so when it falls, it's constantly moving. I mean, it looks like Albert Collins told me one day, he says, it looks like something's dying in the water, and those big fish cannot leave it alone. Clint won the Forest Wood Cup on it. Back at the end of June, Albert and his partner in a tournament on Sam Rayburn. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
5 fish, 41 pounds.
Oh my gosh!
That 12-inch worm. It's been phenomenal. You've been around this business as long as I have. There's not a lot of new things that really come out that change the industry. Right now you have crankbaits that will go down 25 feet.
Sure.
Well, if you didn't have the original river runt, you wouldn't have a 25-foot crankbait at this point. So that's what we're doing. We're taking our bass products, we're taking our walleye products, and we're trying to refine what's working out there and make it even better.
I've got to ask you, Darryl, this 12-inch buzzworm, I'm trying to wrap my head around this huge stick here. Are you Texas rigging this? Is this a Carolina rig, or is this something else?
It's basically Texas rigging or fishing on a wobble head, a swing head in deep water. That's now, don't let that 12-inch scare you.
It does.
Okay?
It scares me, Darryl.
No, because in the past year, I've talked to a lot of good fishermen, a lot of our good accounts throughout the north where they have some good bass fishing. Now, you may not have 10, 11-pound bass up there, but you have a lot of 3 and 4-pound quality bass.
Right.
When you get into those hot summer months and those fish move down deep, throw that worm because you can catch 3-pound fish. I've caught 10-inch bass on that 12-inch worm.
You know what? You've convinced me. That's the thing I love about this radio show, folks. I'll come in with some ideas of what we're going to talk about, and then I'm like a squirrel. I get easily sidetracked, and now we're talking about 12-inch worms, and I'm absolutely going to try these at some of the Northwest lakes that I live at this summer. So thank you for that. Now, you've got a lot of other products, and they're in a lot of places because Mr. Twister's been around forever. What are some of the big chain stores that you'll find Mr. Twister products in?
You can find our products, our curly tail grubs, and our sassy shad, which is another innovation that Mr. Twister came out with. It was the original paddle tail swim bait. So, you can find those anywhere. Your Cabela's, your Bass Pro, Sportsman's Warehouse, Mills Fleet Farm, all of your better independent dealers. We have a strong network of independent dealers throughout the country, and they all have this stuff in stock.
And if you can't find it there, folks, there's always the website of MrTwister.com. That's spelled out, MrTwister.com. One other thing I've got to ask before we go. Anything new coming out for 2019?
You know, we just introduced 2 new baits this year, which is our 6.5-inch night crawler. And also, we've came out with the second generation of our curly-tail grub called the Platinum Curly-Tail Grubs. So those are 2 brand new products that you can find out in the market right now or within a couple of weeks, especially up in your area, because in the Northwest, a lot of the dealers up there, they'll schedule their products to come in March and April whenever their season starts.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. Mr. Twister, they've been around since the 1970s, and those original curly-tail grubs and jigs, they work great. But as you just heard, there's a whole lot of other things to explore, too, in the Mr. Twister lineup. So check them out. Start tossing them for bass, for crappie, for walleye, and more. And I suspect your fishing is going to be pretty darn good this year. Darryl, thanks for telling us about this today on America Outdoors Radio.
Well, thank you for having me, John.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about in this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
There's no more majestic, magical, adventuresome country than the western United States of America to enjoy a great family vacation. Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh Inns are still offering affordable 4-star accommodations at 2-star prices. Enjoy deluxe smoke-free suites, spacious pools and spas, and fully equipped fitness centers. From free high-speed internet in every room to a free continental breakfast or full, hot, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. There are no hidden fees like some of the big chain hotels charge. Even the kids stay free, and Shiloh Inns are dog-friendly. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohinns.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing through education and work on behalf of wild public lands and waters. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting www.backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access. You can also demonstrate your support by signing up for the 2019 North American Rendezvous in Boise, Idaho, May 1st to the 5th.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
The 2 biggest fishing and hunting shows in the Northwest are taking place courtesy of O'Loughlin Trade Shows. The Washington Sportsman Show is happening January 23rd through the 27th at the Fairgrounds in Puyallup, and you won't want to miss the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show either at the Expo Center in Portland, February 6th through the 10th. There will be hundreds of exhibitors and up to 100,000 attendees, along with the seminars and demos from experts there, and you'll find incredible deals too only at these shows. It's the Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup, January 23rd through the 27th, and the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, February 6th through the 10th. They're the biggest and best shows around. We'll see you there.
More habitat equals more wildlife. Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. Join the habitat leader and help create wildlife habitat in your community. To join us, go to pheasantsforever.org.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we are taking you to the West Coast, specifically to Douglas City, California. That's where Steve Huber lives. He is a guide, and this time of year, he is chasing winter steelhead on California's Smith River and Southern Oregon's Chetco River. Steve, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about these two streams for our listeners who aren't too familiar with them or the steelhead opportunities they offer. We'll start off with the Smith River. How are things looking this winter for steelhead fishing there?
Well, everyone is chomping on that storm that's due in here. We're doing between 5 and 7 inches of rain coming in the next couple of days here. And so that's actually what we really need to get everything jump-started over there. You know, the Smith River is the last of the undammed rivers. We're going to see a giant rise out of it come over the next couple of days. And then as soon as that thing crests and starts on its way down, it'll be full-time action for steelhead fishing.
When it comes to winter steelhead on the Smith River, what is the average size of the fish here, and how do you go about catching them there?
Well, the average size, you know, we can see a fish anywhere from, 5 pounds all the way to every year there's one over 20 caught.
Wow.
So, you know, the method used traditionally is, when the water's really high and coming down in the first beginning, everyone will be plunking, trying to find an area to plunk. And then once that river hits 12 feet is the magic number. And once that river hits 12 feet, we'll start side drifting with Mad River bouncers, piece of yarn, fish pill, maybe a little bit of bait or just yarnies. So it's a matter of covering some ground and being able to cast. So we'll be side drifting the majority of the time all the way down.
In terms of accessibility, is this a river that you can get on pretty easy, whether it's a drift boat or whether you're a bank angler?
Yeah, the great part about it, this Smith, is that, it does have foot access to it. The campgrounds have definitely some access for the bank fishermen to go to it. The majority of people are on a drift boat because you've got to cover some ground. And when you're covering ground, you're going to find those schools of fish. The Smith is, pretty notorious for groups moving in together. And so once you find a group of fish, it's not, one or two. It's, half a dozen to a dozen fish in a group. So that's where, getting out on the water and getting out there early and covering the ground really makes a difference.
All right, well, let's hop over the California border into southern Oregon and talk about the Chetco River. How does that fishery differ from the Smith in the winter?
They're going to fish really similar. The difference is the magic number on the Chetco River is 5,000 CSF. So anything above 5,000 CSF is really going to put you down into the plunking and working off the shorelines. Once that water comes below 5, that opens up the access to it. So we have 2 sets of drifts on there. We have a drift where icebox down, you can use a motor. And then above icebox to the forks is a special permit where there's only 18 permitted guides, and that's all by oars. So we're fortunate to have one of the 18 permits, and it allows us to get a little bit away from the crowds. But, both parts of the river are going to produce fish because they definitely come in from the bottom part and stage by the South Fork on this river.
What are the limits for steelhead, and how long is this winter steelhead fishery going to keep going?
So the Smith River is pretty much going to be catch and release, only allowed to take a hatchery fish. The Chetco River is one of the last few rivers that you can actually keep a wild fish. For a total of 2, you can have 1 hatchery and 1 wild. We really encourage everyone to release all the wild fish. I understand it's the ability to take 1, but my clients, if it's a female, we are going to release that fish and let her go do what she needs to do. I understand people still like to eat steelhead. I get that it's there to take, but we encourage everyone to catch and release on the wild fish and keep the hatchery. There's plenty of hatchery around to be bonking on the head and taking it home for dinner.
Oh, yeah. And those hatchery steelhead, folks, they taste just fine. I'll grill one up on my barbecue any day of the week and be a happy man about it. And I agree with you on the wild steelhead. I know you, just because you can keep something doesn't necessarily mean you should, especially, like you said, when it comes to the females. If we want to grow those stocks, letting them go is a good way to go about it.
Yeah, there wasn't an abundance of them, we'd be at a zero limit. And I know, like I said, I know that there's sometimes that's a first fish, and those are different circumstances, to be able to take one of those things. But general purpose, anyone who's a steelhead fisherman really knows that they want to cherish that stock completely and have the ability to their kids to go catch it. So you take that into play with steelhead fishermen, and we usually don't see any problems whatsoever.
Well, last but not least, let's give out a website so folks can book a trip with you, whether it be on California's Smith River or Southern Oregon's Chetco River, where you have one of those precious few permits to fish a portion of that stream that few people can.
Sure, you can reach me on my website, which is www.stevehuberguideservice.com. We're on that lovely Facebook app, too, and you can always give us a call at 866-531-3474.
That's stevehuberguideservice.com. Again, stevehuberguideservice.com. Steve has been doing this a long time. He knows his business. Great guy to hang out with. And oh, by the way, stay tuned because there's going to be interesting offerings coming up in the near future from Steve as well. Steve, thanks for taking the time to give us the lay of the land on the West Coast there for steelhead on America Outdoors Radio.
I appreciate it. Everyone have a safe New Year's. Make sure everyone's got their new licenses for the year.
Switching topics, earlier in the show, we told you about the Great American Outdoors Show going on in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania from February 2nd through the 10th, as well as the Washington Sportsmen Show we'll be exhibiting at from January 23rd through the 27th in Puyallup. Now, let's tell you about a few other shows you might want to attend around the country. The first one is the International Sportsman's Exposition Show at the Cal Expo in Sacramento. This is a big one, drawing some 35,000 attendees, and it's kicking off on the 17th and running through the 20th. Another West Coast show that's even bigger is the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon. We'll be exhibiting at this one too, with some 60,000 attendees expected between the 6th and the 10th of February, and we expect to meet a lot of our listeners there, and I hope you'll be there too to sign up for a chance to win the $100 gift certificate we give away at each show we exhibit at from Max Lures. If you're a dyed-in-the-wool or waders fly angler, you'll want to attend the Fly Fishing Show. This features all sorts of big-name experts in the world of fly fishing and has something for everyone from the novice to the experienced angler. The show is a traveling one. It's going to be at the Infinite Energy Center in Atlanta, February 1st and the 2nd, in Linwood, Washington, the 16th and the 17th, and at the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, California, February 22nd through the 24th. Other shows coming up in mid-February, to include the 22nd through the 24th, is the Saltwater Sportsman Show. That one's going to be in Salem, Oregon at the State Fairgrounds. It's all about saltwater fishing with an emphasis on Pacific Coast saltwater fishing too. February 13th through the 17th, the National Wild Turkey Federation is having their 42nd annual convention and sports show. That's going to be at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. And during that same time frame, February 14th through the 17th, the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo will be going off at the Salt Palace Convention Center in Salt Lake City. We're running short on time, but if you missed part of this show, we'll be posting it as a podcast in the next few days, and you can hear it anytime you want on Stitcher, Podbean, or YouTube. Just look for America Outdoors Radio. You can also listen to our show online every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Time on TalkAmericaRadio.us. It's the new voice of conservative talk radio, and if you haven't already tuned in, you should. It's some great programming. If you find yourself on social media, be sure to like and follow our Facebook page at America Outdoors Radio. And finally, if you want a preview of what's coming up on the show or find links to our sponsors, just go to our website, That's found at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Getting back to what we had to say at the start of the show, there really is no business like show business. Sportsman show business, that is, and I hope you'll get to visit one or more of these shows in the weeks ahead. Here's hoping the good Lord blesses you greatly and that part of those blessings involve you getting in some fishing, hunting, and a good dose of medicine called nature. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.